Thanks, Mindy. That's terrific. And I think, there's something Mindy's doing here that I think all of us can relate to, where she and her team are trying to find ways to connect with readers on things that they'll really care about, that they'll find interesting. Prehistoric creatures walking across the road is interesting and newsworthy. At the same time, she hasn't lost sight of great journalism. So the Miami Herald is the winner of 2 Pulitzer Prizes in this cycle, one in explanatory reporting for its work on the Pentagon Papers and the other in editorial cartooning. And so, and congratulations to them, certainly. But that's the challenge for all of us. I'm going to be talking about engagement, which is our focus right now. And for us, engagement begins with great journalism. And I just want to give a little pitch here for a piece that we're going to launch in the next few days that I won't name, and I won't name the author of, but watch your social media streams the next few days for the announcement of a serial investigative piece out of the Dallas Morning News that's 18 months in the making. And when we talk about engagement, we cannot disconnect that from the great work we do in journalism. It's all the same thing, okay? So, my title is We Got Them, Can We Keep Them? Well, the theme that I'm going for here is we got them, meaning we came together and learned how to deliver journalism effectively on digital platforms over the last couple of years. We've done that. We're not perfect, but we do some things really well. We've learned a lot with the help of the Knight Foundation and some other sources. We've learned a lot, and now the question is, can we keep them? It's not just about numbers for us. It's about getting people to come back and building them as loyal customers over time. I'm going to give you a little overview of our transformation process. When I became editor in February 2015, soon after that, I talked to the staff and sort of laid out a vision for what we could be. And I said, imagine a newsroom where we respond to readers' needs quickly, and where we are able to, where we come together as one group of journalists focused on digital reporting, and where at the end of the day we have a team that is curating the best work that we've done that day into a great newspaper. This was sort of the broad idea. And we hired a consultant, Jim Friedlich, from New York, to come in and help us guide this process. And just to sort of connect things for you, Jim Friedlich is now the director of the Lenfest Institute, which is owner of Stan's operation, and so a lot of this DNA is kind of coming together in our industry. Robin Tomlin, my terrific managing editor, and I got together and we launched teams in our newsroom to study the content that we do and our workflows and our digital, our technological capabilities and issues, and sent them out for a summer to study this and bring back a report, which they brought back a longer one than the one Stan got, it sounds like. Ours was at 150 pages or something, called the Empirical Report. And they told us, here's the newsroom we need to be. Here are the ways we need to change in terms of technology, culture, content, in order to be where we need to be. We went through a long process. We also reopened every job description in our newsroom. We put out an organization chart where we said, this is the work that needs to be done. This is the technology we need to do it. Now, everybody come on up and tell us how you think you can contribute, right? So that's the stage where my first slide starts. We completed this newsroom reorganization, and we had about half of our full-time staff landing in new jobs or doing significantly different things. About 130 people doing new or substantially different jobs. What that meant was there was a tremendous amount of excitement in the newsroom over the new possibilities, and it also meant that you had a lot of people who only kind of knew what they were doing, right? So we're learning together. We added a lot of positions. We changed out some positions and added some new jobs. People with abilities in data. We had one person doing essentially data journalism full-time. When I arrived, we quickly built that team up to 4. Digital page designers. We brought in an analytics person into the newsroom to help us understand the numbers we were seeing and strategize changes we could make. Video became more of a focus. Audience engagement became a big focus. We had an audience editor whom we appointed, whose job would be to sort of, number one, teach the newsroom how to engage with the audience, but also to lead audience engagement through social. and other means. The mindset and workflow changes were extensive. We wanted to publish all of our content for digital first, and that was a big challenge because when I arrived as editor, the morning news meeting was at 10:30, and the discussion was among editors saying, here's what I have that might contend for the front page tomorrow. And yes, there was a sort of a mention of, oh, we have this on the site or that on the site, but the website was a separate operation run by one fantastically energetic person who accounted for something like half of the traffic to our site, one person. Do I have that stat right, Robin? I mean, it was more like 20%, but in my memory, and it's a better story if I say half. Did a whole bunch of content. But it was sort of, everything was out of whack. You had one person really dominating the whole web operation, and then sort of a fracture between the way Metro and the digital operation worked. And so we sort of erased all of that, and we said, you all are digital journalists. This is a website. The Dallas Morning News is a website that, at the end of the day, publishes a great newspaper. That was a big part of the project. We had some great help in that we were developing our own bespoke CMS at the time. We hired a local technology and design firm to help us build a CMS that would meet our needs. And that's been, I think, a huge part of our transformation and a big success. And you'll hear more about that in a minute. All right, so that's what we did. End of the first year, we had gone from, we'd probably increased monthly uniques by about 33%. And some months it was a crazy kind of 100%, but there were some quirky things about the data there. But anyway, the audience was coming. The audience was coming. So at the end of the year, though, digital revenue didn't really sort of knock our socks off. Though we had built a lot more audience because of low CPMs and other reasons, the money wasn't coming in the way we needed it to. So our publisher, Jim Maroney, sent a note out to the staff in this January and said, it's time for us to prioritize audience engagement. We're not going to chase clicks. Not that's what we were really doing, but we're not going to be so about, hey, how many clicks did this get, as who were the people who clicked? Are they people who kept coming back? So we have goals for 2017, which, by the way, they are in my performance goals. They roll down to Robin and to everybody in our newsroom, that there's an expectation that we'll improve the return frequency, the number of people who come back to dallasnews.com and our other sites. We'll increase depth of engagement. So we want to increase the number of people who come back 3 times a month. We want to increase the number of people who go to a story and then go to other stories at that same time, and also drive up the number of people who like us on Facebook or follow us on social media. And we are seeing improvement early in the year in those numbers, particularly on the social side. The re-engagement numbers are challenging for us because our baseline for our goal setting was the fourth quarter of last year, which was a great quarter for us. The Cowboys were on a huge playoff run, and the fourth quarter is always seasonally a better quarter. So now we're comparing it to the first quarter where the Cowboys aren't playing, and seasonally we're doing a little worse. So it's a push for us to meet these goals, but that may not be a bad thing. So what are we doing to engage the audience? Well, because of this CMS called Serif, we're able to engage the audience in some good ways. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. I'll start first with some social things. What you see on the screen is a Facebook page about Texana. We have a reporter who has an obsession, kind of a beat focus on Texas and Texas culture. And he and others have built a Facebook page around that subject where he's contributing his stories. Others in the newsroom are contributing stories and just telling stories of their own and engaging Texans in discussion. So I had a 30-year newspaper career in Florida. Now I'm in Texas, and people ask me about the difference because politically they're not so different, and there's a lot of in-migration to both places. The thing that I say, though, is that people from Texas are really like that they're from Texas. They're really into that. People from Florida, a lot of them, it's like, yeah, it's just where I am right now. So people in Texas love Texas. So we've got Texana, and we're excited about that. We also have Facebook groups now around a couple of other topics. We just launched one on Literary Dallas. Had the idea to, what are people reading? Who's coming to town to read? And we launched it, and suddenly, bam, there's about 860 people who are pretty loyally coming back and talking about the books they're reading and when they read. One of our editors the other day posted something about where do you like to read? Because he said that he used to like to read in bed, but then he was sort of disinvited from the bedroom while reading because his partner didn't appreciate the light, the light on. And so there's just little discussions that are going on around that, engaging us. And the idea is to establish us as a convener of conversations around things people care about. So this is you see our a page from our site scrolling up. This is built on Serif, and when you come back to the top, you'll see this is Tony Romo, the former quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, announced his retirement recently. And though sadly he never won a Super Bowl in Dallas, he's very beloved in town, very visible. Everybody's been pulling for him for a long time, and his retirement was a story of the magnitude roughly akin to the death of Castro in Mindy's community in Miami. So everybody was talking about that. So we used our tools on Serif to do a homepage takeover about Romo's retirement. And what you see scrolling by are article embeds. These are other pieces about Tony Romo that are gathered into an embed so that it's actually a collections page that you can go through and see other things about his career. So that's one of the tools we have available. We also have embeds that we could drop into a story at the story level so you can see, get recirculated through to other things you may care about. There are some other tools that we count on for engagement. One of the things that we find really effective is just quickly embedding social tweets in breaking news. It's a great way to get people into the story, and sometimes to circulate to our Twitter accounts. We've also had some success on the social side doing teaser videos. If you look at our feed this week, you'll see teaser videos about the package that I was just describing to you. And we're able to generate some interest just in a 15 or 20-second video with no auto sound. They're usually captioned, so you have to click through if you want to hear the sound. And that's been really effective. There are many other things that we're doing that I can talk about when we get together. And one of the things that I will mention when we get the panel up to talk is we are using technology tools for engagement, but we also have a very ambitious program of connecting with the audience directly through personal contact or through much more personal digital means, because all of this is coming together. The need to engage with the audience for business reasons is meeting right now with the need to engage with the audience because the audience isn't sure about us right now. I think you know this. There's skepticism about what we do. I'm not saying it's justified, but I'm saying that there is a lot of doubt and disbelief in quality journalism right now. And so we want our readers to know who we are, what we do, and how we do it. So let's take a minute, bring out some chairs, and we'll spend a few minutes talking as a group.